ladies, welcome back to Goodfellas Garage, and boy do I have a treat for you today. I am inside a 1987 Porsche 911 Turbo Targa. That is correct. It is a very, very rare car here in the United States. The turbos have a 3.3 liter flat six that is turbocharged, and this body style, the 930, was produced from 1975 through 1989. What makes this particular car very special is that, number one, it's a Targa. Number two, it has only 8,000 miles on the odometer. And this car has a lot of documentation from Porsche. It originally started its life as a fleet car used by Porsche up until 6,000 miles. What Porsche did later, they have swapped the odometer. They put a US spec odometer on this car. They serviced the car and they brought it into the United States to be sold as new. There's a lot of documentation that comes with this car, and there's a lot of provenance that goes along with it. Now, I did some quick research on the numbers, and in 1987, there was only 87 Targas that were brought into the United States, which makes this car incredibly rare. Folks, I apologize for the wind noise. The AC in this car is not cooling very well, so I have the windows rolled down. But I wanted to quickly talk about what it feels like to drive this 1980s icon, because it doesn't really get any more quintessential and iconic than 911 Turbo from the 80s. If you watched my older videos, I did a quick review of another 1987 Porsche, but that one wasn't a turbo. It was a 911 Carrera that belongs to good fella Ivan. And that car had some mechanical issues. There was some problems with the clutch, and it's being sorted out as we speak. So once that car is done, we'll do another review. But what I said in that video really applies to this car as well. Now, given that this is a 3.3 liter flat six that is turbocharged, is producing 296 horsepower and 304 pound-feet of torque, this is a much more powerful car than the 911 Carrera. And they call it a Widowmaker for a reason, because if you don't know what you're doing, this car will get away from under you. It's a short wheelbase, there's a lot of weight on the back, and there's no nannies, there's no electronics, there's no traction control, there's no stability control, none of that stuff here. So you better be very careful, and you better know what you're doing. But again, what I said in that video really applies to this car. This is not the easiest car to drive in the world. It's a very demanding vehicle. Comparing this to the Ferrari that I drove a couple of months ago, the 328 from the same era, there was 86. The Ferrari obviously had less power than this turbo, but that car was much easier to drive. This car requires a lot more effort, a lot more attention, and you have to be on your A game. You can't, this doesn't have cup holders, so you can't sit here, sip on your lattes, and drive around playing with your phone. This car requires you to drive. You have to be driving this car. You can't just let Jesus take over. Now, fellas, this car has a 4-speed manual transmission. It doesn't have the coveted G50 5-speed manual that everybody is lusting after. The other car that I drove, the 911 Carrera, had the G50 transmission, and that other car had about 163,000 miles on it, and it needed some work. It needed some mechanical work. And if you watch that video, you can see I'm struggling with the shifts because the transmission is not precise. It is difficult to find gears, and it was popping out of gear. And I figured, the car has 163,000 miles, and the transmission needs a rebuild. But let me tell you something. This car has 8,000 miles, and I have the same complaints about this transmission as I did the other one. The gears are not, very precise. You have to kind of fish. Especially the first one is a little bit difficult to find. Once you find the first, second, third, fourth is okay, but it's obviously it's not a short throw. There's a long travel. So I think the gearbox is what lets this car down. And again, that's my personal opinion. So, fellas, this is an interesting car to drive. It handles like a go-kart, and up to about 3,000 RPM, there's no one home. But once the turbo kicks in, oh my God, it is so much fun. Now, here are some of my final thoughts about this car. If you watch my Ferrari 328 review, I said at the end of that video that every true car enthusiast and true car guy should drive a classic 80s Ferrari. It should be a bucket list. And I think the same applies for 80s Porsches the turbos. I think any car guy should drive one to be able to experience what it's like to drive a car from that era. You have to keep in mind that this car requires a lot of discipline, it requires a lot of attention, because if you don't know what you're doing, this car will punish you, but if you know what you're doing, this car will reward you. Personal preference for me, if I had a choice between a classic Ferrari or a classic Porsche, I would go for a Ferrari. I find them to be much easier to drive than the 80s Porsches. Now, the other thing is that anything with the name of Porsche as of recent has, skyrocketed, gone through the roof in price, and included this car. I mean, this is a six-figure plus car, and the sad part, at least for me, is that most of these cars are gonna sit in garages, are gonna exchange hands between collectors because nobody wants to put mileage on them, and I think it's a disservice to these cars. These cars need to be driven, they need to be enjoyed, and it's just a car. If if something breaks, just fix it. But that's just my take on it. So, well, fellas, I hope you enjoyed this quick video, and if you did, please subscribe, like, share, so you can become friends of ours. Thank you for watching. Bye.